Well, all the action is definitely in the equity markets, but we need to take a breather and talk about commodities as well. Let's find out if there's a buzz there too. Manisha Gupta is joining in. Manisha, what do you have?
A lot of action, by the way, in commodities too. And I want to, draw your attention to silver prices. And what a strong jump up we've seen in last couple of sessions itself for the Indian markets. Now it is 72,000 rupees per kg for the silver prices. We are trading at a 7-week highs in the international markets, and we are trading around that $23, $24 per ounce mark there as well. So it's it has been a big resistance for some time now. Every time the silver prices went to 70,000, we saw some profit taking coming in. That hasn't happened this time, and we are looking at strong buying here. So silver has been taking support from gold, and the run-up that we've seen in base metal prices in last few sessions also seems to be supporting. So for the last quarter of 2022, we saw the prices gain up by nearly 23%. And then March has seen a gain of 10%. For the year so far, though, we have seen 3% of gains come in for the silver prices. When you see the range within the prices itself, it has been a very big one. For last year, we saw the silver prices trading between 51,000 on the lower side to 73,000 on the higher side. We already are trading on the higher side of that range at this point in time. The all-time high for the silver prices have been near 78,000 rupees, which the markets believe that not only silver will cross that, but there are targets coming in for 80,000, 85,000 on the higher side as well by Diwali in this year itself. When you look at the inventories itself, that has seen a constant decline. So whether it has been about Shanghai, LBMA, COMEX, the inventories are under pressure. They are the lowest in last decade or 2 decades in case of LBMA there. So the demand has been on the stronger side from the industrial markets there. For the Indian markets, when you look at the imports itself, we saw a record import in 2022 to the tune of almost 8,000 tons in the Indian markets there. So when you look at that chart, you'll realize that in last 3 or 4 or 5 years, we haven't seen that kind of imports come into India, the kind of tuning that we saw in for 2022. So record imports until now. In this quarter, the imports have not been so strong, but the markets do believe that going forward, the kind of demand that we are seeing from investment, industry, jewelry, silverware, all of that is expected to go up. So this is the chart I was talking about. We have seen very strong gains come in for this one. As I said, more than 9,000 tons of silver came in last year, much higher than what we've seen in last 3 or 4 years. Of course, the COVID years did not see much of imports coming in, but the last year was very, very strong. I also want to talk about the silver deficit that the international market seems to be talking about. So last year was a record global deficit that we saw in the global markets at the tune of around 253 million ounces. This year, while the deficit is lower, but it still is a strong deficit nonetheless at around 119 million ounces, with an expectation that the demand is going to be 2 billion ounces. So with that kind of a deficit, the expectation is that the silver prices from these current levels also have much higher to go.
All right. Thanks very much, Manisha. The silver is looking good, seems to be in a good spot. Thanks very much. Well, defense is the other space which is in a good spot, and we've been highlighting